First I just want to say that we are moving full steam ahead towards local control, and in my estimation, I think that a year and a half tops is what we should be looking at in order to bring local control back to the city of Newark. The Education Law Center believes that we can have it by next summer. I'm in full support of that. If we can push the Newark Educational Success Board to make that transition happen. We are definitely optimistic about the Education Law Center's timeline. We want to stay true to that, and we're going to work, do everything we can to make that a reality for Newark residents. I think it's about time that happens. I am happy and positive that we are now in a space where we're talking about local control, a transitional space. We begin to talk about community control of our schools. It's extremely important, and we haven't been in this space for 20 years. I think it's a victory for Newark families and the Newark community to begin having these discussions around local control. God willing, it'll be sooner than later. Also, what local control looks like to us, it looks like community schools. It gives us the opportunity to have an elected school board that actually has authority and power to make decisions about their children's lives, about what's happening in their community, about what's happening in their city. We are going to move completely towards trying to organize the resources in this city, city resources, private resources, philanthropic resources, toward community schools. Community schools have been effective all over the country. We've seen consistent levels of success in Cincinnati, in Tulsa, in Nashville, graduation rates improving, test scores improving, student engagement improving, all around community schools where cities have organized all of their resources around these specific schools. They've witnessed enormous levels of success. That's the direction that we're trying to go in Newark. Enrollment Assistance Sites is simply us trying to deal with the fact that One Newark is not working. It's not working. It's been broke for a very long time. I think that the present folks are beginning to see how damaged it really is. And so we are still advocating that people should be allowed to go to their neighborhood school. And there are a lot of people who are still not enrolled. There are a lot of people who still are not getting into their neighborhood school. So what we want to do is set up enrollment assistance sites in every ward in this city where residents who are having trouble at the enrollment center, or having trouble trying to get kids in their neighborhood schools, or have kids scattered around, or have issues with special needs kids, that we can help them in conjunction with the district and community folks to begin to troubleshoot some of those problems right there where they are, so we won't have the kind of chaos that occurred a couple of times when One Newark first began. What we want to do is set up sites, maybe in some local churches, local community centers in the neighborhood, and begin to troubleshoot parents' issues in the east, north, south, central, west wards. Right there on site, they can come and we can help them get their kids in their neighborhood schools, their community schools where they live. I still am a firm believer that if you live across the street from the school, your first opportunity and choice should be given to you to go to the school across the street from your house. Right, so if you live across the street from the school and you're being forced to go across town, I think that's completely incorrect. It's inconvenient. It's not democratic in my mind. And so we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that takes place. Until One Newark is completely gone, which I think is the only answer to this problem that we have. We're going to set up these sites in order to kind of help people get through the hardship of the One Newark process that's been very difficult and cumbersome for a lot of Newark residents. So I do want to say that the district has been helpful in saying that they would provide us with individuals to assist us in some of the things that we're doing. So we are going to set up our own folks from City Hall. We are going to put community partners involved. The district has agreed to put at least one person in each ward at those enrollment assistance sites to help us navigate parents through all of the bureaucracy and the other issues that they face in trying to put kids in school. I think we're going to start August 27th. And we're going to go all the way up to September the 10th. We are going to dedicate some of our resources here at City Hall to make sure that we assist these parents in getting these kids where they belong. And I think that the district should do an audit of schools, particularly in places where they're border cities. You need to do an audit to make sure that Newark students are in these schools, that they actually live in Newark, in both public and charter schools, to make sure that these kids actually live in the city, their parents actually live in the city. And secondly, there's overcrowding in schools because we are feeling the effect from when schools were closed and turned over to some of the charters. Some of the grades were removed, and because of those grades were removed, those kids have been sent to other schools that actually have no seats for them because there's overcrowding in those schools because those grades were removed. We have to put those grades back, and I believe that if the charter wants to take the school and the district turn the school over, they should take all of the grades. And so it's important for us to make sure that we make the school system whole. So we have a whole list of people that are coming down here that are complaining that the school that they try to go to in their neighborhood or outside of their neighborhood is overcrowded now because the school they went to in their neighborhood no longer takes those grades. Because they don't take those grades, they have to go to school across town or in another neighborhood, and it's providing a serious inconvenience to parents. And so if the district believes that the charter can run the school better, then I don't have any issue with that. If the charter believes they can run the school better, that's fine. But they should take all of the grades and not part of the grades. They should take everybody from K to 8 and not K to 3 or K to 4 and inconvenience the rest of the city. So that's where we are, and we need to bring all parties to the table to discuss that. That is a whole other discussion that we need to have about how we right-size the schools in this city. Well, there's still issues. I think that the process at the Enrollment Center is looking a lot better than it did when it was first opened up, the chaos that existed there. But there's still the fundamental issues that we are seeing. That's why we have these Enrollment Assistance Sites. Fundamental issues of parents who live across the street or around the corner from schools who are being sent across town, elementary age kids who are being sent across town, whose parents have to go to work in the morning, have to find a way to get their kid across town to school and to work at the same time. Kids that are in multiple different schools around the city, elementary age kids that are in multiple. So we're not talking about high school kids here. We're talking about elementary age children that are scattered around the city that nobody else's parents in any other city would have to deal with or would put up with, for that matter. So we're trying to right-size that, and those issues still exist. We still have issues of kids that are in schools that don't have the special needs services in those schools where they have been placed, as well as ELL services. So we have to right-size and fix that as well. So there are a lot of issues that exist today just because the person changed. The issues that existed still are here because they become endemic to a system that was created. So we're trying to undo some of that stuff and fix some of it. Like, so the district made a decision and said that these schools aren't working. And because they said these schools aren't working, that they thought that the charters could do these schools better. And I'm not making an argument of whether they could do it better or not. What I'm saying is, if they could do it better, then let them do it better. Right? So they need to take all of the kids and not part of the kids. And because part of the kids created a problem for the city, it created a problem for us. Like, it created a problem for the majority of kids and parents that are in this city who have their kids in traditional public schools in a neighborhood. If I went to Hawthorne or if I went to Alexander or any of these schools or Madison Avenue and I was in the 7th grade, I couldn't go there next year because there was no 7th grade. I had to go to another school somewhere else that wasn't necessarily better than the school I was at in the first place. And so I went to that school, but those kids already got a 7th grade. They already have a 7th grade in that school. So now I'm going into a place that I'm being forced to be put in, and it's causing overcrowding in that school. So the problem now is a serious problem that we have to begin talking about, and not a political issue about charter versus traditional public schools. That's not what we have in this discussion here today about. This discussion today is about how do we fix public schools here in the city of Newark? How do we right-size them? How do we get kids in the schools where they belong in? And how do we make sure we don't have this overcrowding in the district? There's a waiting list, not just at charter schools, there's a waiting list at public schools in Newark too. There's a long waiting list at schools that shouldn't be, that we can fix, that we should be talking about how do we fix this, right? And get out of these foxholes that people created for us and begin to fix it right. I think one of the things that the district is going to have to do is all those teachers that they put on that EWPS list, they have to put those teachers in a classroom. And, you know, God has a sense of humor, man, you know. So ultimately, they're gonna, the interesting thing is that the people who created this problem are actually being charged with the task of fixing it, you know. That's why, you know, I love God, brother. You know, at the end of the day, these folks that are in those rooms that created the budget deficit that you're talking about in the first place, the EWPS list that created the budget deficit, that added to the budget deficit, which was a practice that, you know, is questionable at best, where they knew they were losing money year and year and year, and they continued to do philosophically, hanging on to something that made no sense. And so now you have a budget crisis because of that room. And now, in order to deal with the budget crisis, you have to put those people back in those places. And I think the superintendent, the interim superintendent, understands that those folks have to be put back. Whether philosophically or ideologically agrees with it or not, pragmatically and economically, you have no choice but to put those people back into the schools. And they can't afford to do that again. Right, so by virtue of the fact that we're in this economic problem in the school district, there goes the turnaround school thing. The renewed school model has to go out the door with that.